Hey guys, what's up? So, as we know, Thor has now been released in theaters in the US, and so the official release date is today, November 3rd, but I saw it last night at one of the earlier screenings. So, I want to do a spoiler review. I was going to do a spoiler-free review, but to me it's kind of hard to give, like, your full thoughts on a movie without referencing certain parts of the movie. So it's kind of hard to do that for me without mentioning things that could potentially be spoilers for people who haven't seen it. So if you have not seen it and you plan on seeing it and don't want spoilers, then you probably shouldn't be watching this video. If you are going to watch it but you don't mind certain things being spoiled, then go ahead and stick around. Or if you don't plan on watching it at all, then, by all means, you can watch it or not watch it, depending on how you feel about the movie in general. But overall, it is what I expected it to be, and not necessarily in a good or bad way. It's just, it wasn't anything different from what I expected. I don't feel like it's anything really that different from what Marvel has done before. It's not a standout for me in terms of the MCU. Some of the critics were saying it sets a new standard or a new bar for Marvel movies, which I don't really agree with that. I think there are better Marvel movies. There are worse ones also, so it doesn't fall anywhere in... I don't think it falls anywhere in the top Marvel movies or the bottom Marvel movies. It's kind of just in the middle for me. It's a fun movie like everyone says. It's a... it has a lot of comedy, a lot of humor, which people were expecting from the trailers. They said, before the movie came out that they wanted to do something different because with the first two Thor movies, they're not as widely popular as other Marvel movies, some of the other ones. And Chris Hemsworth himself said that he was getting bored with playing Thor, and him and the director agreed that they wanted to do something different with the character. So, he has a different look, it's a different tone. Thor himself is just different in this movie, character-wise. He's a lot more comical, and which to me, even in the other Thor movies he was, sometimes it was just, I guess, a different kind of humor. Kind of like in the first Thor movie, he's on Earth, so it's like his fish out of water that was the kind of humor he had, because things are a lot different on Earth than he's used to, and so it was funny because he didn't know how to interact properly, or it's a lot different from what he is used to on Asgard. So that's what was funny about that movie. And so it's just a lot more comical. It's more close, the tone is more like that of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, which is what I was expecting from seeing the trailers and little clips that were coming out that were being released, getting closer to the movie. So that's what I expected, and that's what I got. Overall, I did like it. I didn't love it. For me, it's not a movie I would see more than once in the theaters. I liked that Hulk, I think it was pretty cool to have Hulk in the movie. We haven't seen him in a while since he wasn't in Civil War. He left after Age of Ultron. And so we haven't really seen him. It's different that he's talking now. It's not a bad thing, in my opinion. I mean, he's pretty much in the whole movie, and so it kind of makes sense for him to be talking. I mean, of course we see him as Bruce Banner and as the Hulk, but it's kind of funny because he kind of has like a toddler. It's kind of like a toddler talking sometimes, or like a little kid, so it's kind of fun. It's kind of funny. But they him and Thor kind of always have like this love-hate relationship, so it's kind of cool, I guess, to have them in a movie together and fighting and everything, The thing... Okay, let me get into Hela real quick before I expand on her. I think Cate Blanchett was a good choice. She's a good actor. She did well as a villain. I liked having a female villain, which is different for Thor movies as well as like the MCU as a whole. So it was cool to have a female villain. She was convincing as a villain, if that makes sense. Like, she was a good villain, And spoiler alert, she does turn out to be Thor's sister. It's revealed that she's Odin's firstborn, and obviously Thor, Loki, no one on Asgard really knew about her because Odin had her locked away. When Hela's kind of explaining that backstory, she's explaining that her and Odin together, and like their army or whatever, they were taking over the other realms, and that's how Asgard has so much riches, I guess you could call them. And so she's kind of, but then she kind of started to get like, they started having different, her and Odin started having different ideas of what it meant to rule. She's more like an evil type of ruler. And when she started getting to the point where he thought she was going overboard, he locked her up because he thought she was going to be too dangerous, pretty much. So she's been locked away this whole time, and that's why no one knew about her. But, so, obviously Thor and Loki find out that they have a sister, and, I mean, logically, she is heir to the throne. She's the firstborn, so that's kind of why she comes back to Asgard. She wants to rule. And, she reveals that she is the goddess of death. She does take out, like, their Asgard's army or whatever. But she kind of just wants to rule. She doesn't want to destroy Asgard. That's not what I got from it anyway. She just wants to be queen, and Odin's not there anymore, so she feels like that's her rightful place as being Odin's firstborn. And so I liked her as a villain, but when her and Thor finally encounter each other, yes, I still liked her as a villain, but I didn't feel like he was going to be defeated by her. And in these movies, you kind of want that feeling because it makes the anticipation and like you're wondering what's going to happen and how it's going to happen. How are they going to defeat her? Or the villain, in any case. If it feels like there's going to be a defeat by, if the villain's going to win somehow, then it makes the heroic defeat better and has a bigger impact, and it's more surprising, and I think it's just better overall. But since I didn't get that feeling from, like, the final battle, or whatever you want to call it, then, it's not, I don't know, it's just not as climactic, But, I did like the fighting scenes. The action was pretty cool. It was pretty good. It was cool to see Thor using his power without his hammer. Because as we see in the trailer, he tries to, when they first encounter each other, he tries to throw his hammer at her like he would normally, and he's not expecting her to be able to catch it and control it, which she does, and crushes it, and he doesn't have a hammer the rest of the movie. So, but he's learning, like, in a dream sequence type of thing from Odin that he is his power, and that his hammer was just a tool to kind of learn how to harness and focus it, but it's not necessary for him to be powerful. And so I liked that they incorporated that into this movie because it's cool to see him, like, they made him a lot more powerful in this movie than in previous movies without his hammer, which I liked seeing that. And so I liked that about the movie. And like I said, the action was good, fighting was good. It just, I don't know, the humor, the comedy was too much for me. There's nothing wrong with laughing, there's nothing wrong with having fun with a movie, but I feel like when there's too much, the serious parts of the movie that are supposed to be more dramatic and have more conflict, you can't take them as seriously, and you can't be as invested in them because there's so much comedy right before and right after, and sometimes during, so it's harder to be convinced that there's a threat going on. Like, you know what I mean? It's just, that's how I felt with Guardians of the Galaxy, and I felt the same way with this movie. And so, it just, if the critic that said, I don't know if there's been more than one, but the one that I saw early on that said it's like borderline parody, that's exactly what it is. It's, I mean, it's almost a parody. It's like right on the edge of being a parody of itself. And for some people that will work, some people will love it, some people won't. I didn't personally love it because I've just never been a big parody movie fan. I feel like if there wasn't as much humor, then the parts that I found genuinely funny would have been more enjoyable, because it wouldn't have just been, there wouldn't have just been so much forced humor everywhere. It was almost every scene that was funny. And some things that were supposed to be funny, I just did not find funny. You know, some people will, depending on what kind of humor you like. And for some people, you know, they'll kind of be like, okay, we get it. You know, they're trying to do something different, they're trying to do something funny, but sometimes it just doesn't work, you know. So, it depends. If you like the more Guardians of the Galaxy type of movies in the Marvel Universe, you'll probably like Thor Ragnarok. If you prefer the more serious ones like Winter Soldier, then you might not be as satisfied with it. And if you like the other two Thor movies, then you might not like the direction they went in this movie either. Because I didn't really think that the first two Thor movies were bad, you know. But like I said, they felt like they needed to do something different to please more people, so that's the direction they went this time. But like I said, I did find some of it funny, some of it didn't work for me. Loki, I guess it's kind of strange to have him in this movie because he's been a villain before in the MCU, so I know, yes, him and Thor are still brothers, and they always will be, but I guess it's just, I don't know, I do like Loki as a character. It's interesting. He's kind of like one of those characters that you don't know if he's going to be good or bad during the movie. Just in general, because he's kind of like a trickster, and, you know, him and Thor have been enemies before, and so, you know, I don't know. It's weird to see him portrayed in a different way, I guess, because the movie's so comical, and so I don't know. But I guess sometimes that makes for a funny dynamic between him and Hulk, since, you know, during Avengers, they were at each other's throats, pretty much. But, I guess it just, like I said, it just depends on your taste. If you prefer a ton of humor, if you like humor that's kind of stupid humor, then you'll probably like it. But, like I said, if you don't like the fact that they're kind of almost making fun of themselves and you want it to be more serious, then you might not be as happy with it as some other people were. Also, another spoiler alert, at the end, I didn't like that, because going into it I expected Hela to be the one to destroy Asgard, and that's not what happens. So I guess it kind of, like, yes, she was still the villain, but I felt like that's what she was supposed to do, and she's not the one who does that. So, I guess I'll go into detail about it, since this is a spoiler review anyway. They bring I don't like saying his name, Surtur, the big flaming, you know, devil demon guy. They revive him. They bring him, like, back to life, pretty much, to fight Hela, and they evacuate Asgard. They have them all on a big spaceship to take them away so they don't get destroyed. But it didn't seem like that's what she was gonna do anyway, Hela. So they let Hela and Surtur fight, and, you know, they're all watching from the spaceship, Thor and Asgard and everybody, and that's how Asgard ends up getting destroyed, because Surtur and her are fighting, and he basically wants Surtur to destroy Asgard because Hela, that's how she draws her power. So she's powerful on her own, but when she's on Asgard, she's a lot more powerful because that's where she draws her power from. So by destroying Asgard, they're taking away her power, and that she's not going to be able to defeat them that way. And so that's how they're trying to protect the people of Asgard. Evacuate them from the planet, let it be destroyed. She can't have power anymore, whatever. So I guess indirectly she kind of destroyed Asgard, but not in the way I was expecting. And so she, like I said, she went there because she wanted to rule, pretty much. And so to get her out of that, to get the people out of under her rule, that's what Thor ended up doing, and his team, Hulk, Valkyrie. So, like I said, overall, good movie. Not anything really special or different from the rest of the Marvel movies. I would say I liked it more than Spider-Man Homecoming. Definitely different than the other Thor movies, but not the MCU movies in general. So it depends, like I said, what kind of tone you like for a movie. I guess I'll rank it to give you guys a better idea. I think if I were to rate it on a scale from 1 to 10, I would give it a 6 out of 10. Yeah, because they're, like I said, things I liked, things I didn't like. So don't let my opinion sway you. If you think, if you want to see it, you want to judge for yourself, by all means, this is just my opinion. But that's what I thought about the movie. And so if you guys saw it and you want to leave your thoughts in the comments, go ahead and do that. And I did do the second episode of the podcast that I joined, but I don't have the link for that yet because we just did it earlier today. So for now, I'll leave the link still for the first episode like I've been doing, and then when that link for the new episode is ready, I'll start putting that one in the follow-up videos. So as always, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks to my viewers, subscribers, patrons. Check out the links in the description, and we'll see you next time.